Hello, welcome to Tales of the Mendicant Preachers. Today's tale of the Mendicant Preachers is about Segatashya of Kibetho, Africa. This comes from a book written by Immaculée Ilibagiza. She is the one who survived the Rwandan genocide. And she wrote this book about a young man that she knew in her youth who was a young visionary from Kibetho. The Marian apparitions occurred in Kibetho, Africa, and Segatashya was one of those visionaries who had mystical experiences and had communications with Jesus and our Holy Mother. And I wanted to share with you this interesting selection where he had this experience where he learned about some unknown sufferings of Jesus during the crucifixion that I think you might find interesting. I think we all might find it a little interesting, so here we are. I was asking Jesus about the suffering he endured to wash away the sins of man. Jesus told me all about the tortures he had to bear, the ones recorded in the Bible. He told me about the beatings, being made to carry his own cross, the whipping, the crown of thorns they forced onto his head, and the way they nailed his hands and feet into the wood and stuck a spear into his side. But Jesus said there were 15 other tortures he suffered that people don't know much about. Of course, I wanted to know every pain that the Lord endured for us because he did it for our salvation, so I asked him to tell me what they were. In retrospect, that was a big mistake on my part, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. Jesus asked, "Do you really want to know what I endured during those 15 sufferings?" "Very well, my child. Wait here just a moment." Then he went back to heaven and sent down his mom to see me. I was really excited and happy because I thought I'd learn secrets, that hidden things would be revealed to me. I thought I was about to embark on a mystical journey of revelation, which I was. I just didn't know it would also be a mystical journey of pain. A moment later, Mary appeared before me, greeting me with all her love. Then she said to me, "Are you really ready to have the things you asked about revealed to you?" "Oh, yes, Mother," I said joyfully. It's a great thing to learn so many lessons about faith and be taught all the things I want to. Before I had a chance to finish the sentence, I fell to the ground and felt like someone had smashed my body with clubs and iron rods. I shouted out in pain. There was darkness all around me. I was traveling through a landscape of pure suffering. I tried to stand up, but a great crushing weight kept knocking me back to the ground as though boulders were being dropped on me from a great height. "Mother, why? Why are you doing this to me?" I cried out in fear and agony. There was no answer, just more blows cracking my bones and breaking my skin. "Please, Mother, talk to me. Maybe we should just forget about our meeting today. I don't think this is what Jesus had in mind when he asked you to teach me a lesson. I get it. I've learned enough." Hello, Adriana. Thank you for joining me. Mary remained silent, and the crushing pain continued to rack my body. I stood up and tried to run, to escape into the emptiness, but each time I forced myself up from the ground, another crushing blow would knock me flat on my face. My eyes swelled shut. I felt like my spine had snapped in two and my leg bones had been splintered. Finally, after being brutally thrust down 6 times in a row, I decided to stay down. I thought that if I stayed sprawled on the floor, my unseen tormentors would grow weary of pounding on me or no longer notice I was there. But I was to have no peace. As soon as I stopped resisting and lay still, an invisible force heaved me up into the air. And just when I'd stand on my own, it would slam me down to the ground. It seemed the battering would never end, but after my face smashed against the floor for the 15th time, whatever power had me in its grip released me. I lay on my back, aching so bad I could barely breathe. I was sure my rib cage had been crushed and my lungs ripped open. I don't know how long I remained inert in the blackness like that, but I was quite certain I would never be able to open my eyes or walk on my own again. After what seemed like an eternity, my surroundings began to brighten and the Virgin Mary returned in her familiar pool of golden light. In her presence, the agony consuming my body and mind eased instantly. "My poor child," she said soothingly, "I was always here to take away your pain. Now you know some of the suffering my son endured to take away the sins of the world." With that, Mary returned to heaven and Jesus returned to my side. He asked, "How was the meeting with my mother? Did she answer all your questions thoroughly? Did she explain everything you were wondering about?" Before I answered the Lord, I ran my hands over my arms, legs, and chest, and was amazed to discover that all my bones and vital organs seemed to be intact. Then I turned to him and said quickly, "Oh, we had a great chat, Lord. Everything went fine, just fine. We had a very pleasant conversation, and then she taught me a new song. We got along really well, and we're both very happy." Jesus replied, "Really? Everything was okay? You've got no problems at all with what she showed you? Nothing she said or did caused you any discomfort whatsoever? You don't even have a small complaint I can mention to her later on?" "Nope, no complaints here, Lord. I couldn't be happier." I know it's wrong to lie to Jesus, but I thought that if I complained at all about the way Mary had taught me to appreciate his suffering, he'd send Mary right back to repeat the lesson. And quite frankly, I thought if she put me through that again, she'd kill me for sure. The innocence of a child. The boy who met Jesus, Segatashya of Kibetho. Following up this Tales of the Mendicant Preacher with 3 more, with the idea now of beautiful writings that emerge from people undergoing extreme suffering. So I'm choosing from 3 great writers who have written while imprisoned for their faith. And so I will be back in a moment with another tale from a mendicant preacher.